Right then, this is a quick walk around video, and this is for a Lexus IS 250 F Sport. The car's come in as a trade-in. It's just a 10 plate car with just 67,000 miles on the clock. It's got the major option on this car of the upgraded Mark Levinson and the multimedia pack, as they call it. So sat nav, rear camera, hands-free telephone, and the Mark Levinson stereo. So very sought after. The car is really nice. There are a couple of minor issues because it is basically been sold way below its true value, but it is a lovely looking car. We'll go around the car for you. Go around the front of the vehicle first. Very clean on the bumper, and the only thing that sort of immediately stands out is it obviously looks like it's had a replacement headlamp on the right hand side, because they are definitely different vintages. So it just, I guess that one was a clouded over more, but the other one could do with a good clean up. Really clean. The only thing I did see, you won't see it on the video unfortunately, is there's a slight discoloration to the bonnet just at the top here. So I'm guessing someone must have had a little mark and they've done a localised repair. They've done it very well, but it is slightly different. And I'm being massively critical, by the way, because if you look at the car now, you just can't see it, but I did notice it. Near side of the car, beautifully smooth in the panels, no car parking dinks or dents. Near side front alloy, really clean. Carry on the side, lovely clean in the panel work. We'll washed it off at some point, but it's not been polished or anything. It's absolutely not by us. Very clean. Bumper corner on the back, again, lovely clean as well. The twin tailpipes on these, absolutely lovely. Then round to the offside, driver's side, again beautifully smooth in the panels down there, no indentations at all, really crisp. Did see again, I mean it is minuscule, but just above the parking sensor you can see a tiny blemish on the paint there, but it looks like a bit of teacup which to wash that off. But as I said, the videos to pick up on these things, even though the car is 13 years old, so it's entitled to have a few. That's down, very nice. Alloy, really nice. But I mean, it is genuinely, it's a really grand looking car. Coming to the boot area now, beautifully finished boot, good sized boot as well. It's been kept in very nice condition. Coming to the back of the car now, been kept in really lovely condition. Normally sort of family cars, fairly heavily used, but this half leather interior has been kept in beautiful condition back here. Coming to the front and the passenger side, again all very clean and tidy. The passenger seat itself has been given hardly any use. Finally coming on the driver's side door card, again lovely and clean and tidy. The driver's seat itself has been kept in beautiful condition. So inside the car now, engine's running through sections so the dashboard can be seen illuminated, which looks pretty much like new. It's incredibly clean. Sat nav, you can see working exactly as it should. Pop the counter reverse, you can see the rear parking camera again working exactly as intended, but it's been kept fabulously well. Let's just show you the dashboard binnacle there. 67,146 miles now recorded. No warning lights on the dashboard at all, and as I said, in wonderful condition. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key, all here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Lexus IS 250 F Sport. Car's registered NA10OEM, and mileage at the start of the road test is 67,139 miles. The reason we do all of our videos, especially the road test section I'm doing here now, is to ensure that if anyone's online, they get to see the car we've advertised actually in operation. The reason we feel it's important is simply because, you know, we've been to see lots of cars which have looked rather marvellous in photographs or description, but only to get there and find out there's an obvious fault that shows up, which we'd much rather known about. So that's why we do it. We do the videos on these lovely quiet country roads in this beautiful part of Gloucestershire, and this actually forms part of the road test route we take our customers on, and so hopefully then it'll be representative of what you'd feel yourself when driving the car. So coming to the car, as you'll know from the walk around video, cars come in via trade-in. I've got a bit of a soft spot for these cars. Notwithstanding that, we're going to go through all the usual things, because there is one item on this car. The whole point of these videos is where we can. We've already highlighted it in the advert, by the way, so it shouldn't be new, but just to reinforce it for you. But starting with the engine, which starts instantly, push button start, settles to a completely smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other car, any other part of the car, sorry. Temperature gauge running just under half, which is exactly where it's meant to be in one of these cars. The engines are stunning. It's a lovely unit, very, very quiet and smooth on the move. Apart from when you shove your foot down hard, it's pretty much inaudible most of the time. But the power delivery is wonderfully delivered. It's smooth, it's tractable, it's got plenty of guts to it, but when you keep your foot down hard, it sings. It's just a lovely, lovely unit to use, and it's paired to this lovely auto gearbox as well, which obviously the ratio has been selected to maximise the engine in terms of both performance and economy. And the gearbox, like all Lexus boxes, are incredibly tough and reliable, and so smooth in operation. It is a gearbox that can be used in sport mode, sequential mode. Just tap it to the right there, and then use the lever here, or the paddles here, to change gear. The display, it tells me now I'm in 4th gear, because it'll select what gear you need to be in, by the way. So as you're on the move, it's not going to suddenly sort of go into the wrong gear and sort of damage the engine or anything for that matter. Changing down, pull the gear lever back. Wait for the car to come, sorry, bear with me. But it's one of the more satisfying ones to use, definitely, because the operation of it with these the lever here has kind of quite a nice sort of meaty feel to it. Likewise, the paddles have a sort of a nice solid feel as well, and it's rarely used, but I'm sure people do, but it's all working absolutely perfectly. So coming to the steering and the chassis of the car, one of my favourite parts of these cars, obviously rear wheel drive, so the front wheels are unpolluted by drive shafts or anything sort of tugging at them. Basically means you've got this lovely, beautifully weighted steering. It's very direct, it's accurate, it's absolutely precise. It makes the car feel very, very solid and secure on the road. It also, by the way, tracks absolutely dead straight. There's no vibrations at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit. But it works brilliantly through the chassis, because I've always said, it's a fine line between having a power steering system that's too keen to change direction, which can be very unsettling for the chassis, but too slovenly, where it just feels ponderous, and this strikes a really nice balance between those two. Chassis itself, what it gives you straight away is this, it's a really well damped ride for a kind of a sportier variant. It's firmer but not uncouth in any way. It's again very well resolved in that way, and yet when you go through the corners, it's got lovely balance to it. It loves to change direction, and it's keen to change direction as well. It's as saying pretty much all these videos, if you want to go for absolute sort of sports saloon, you would still go for a BMW 3 Series, but they wouldn't ride this section of road anywhere like as well as this car does. That's the compromise. So for sort of 5% of your driving, it's slightly better than this. but for the other 95%, this is miles better than the other way around. So it's each their own, we understand that. There's also, by the way, absolutely no rattles or clonks, nothing at all. The car, literally, when you're driving it, just feels like new to drive. It just feels so solid, so beautifully sort of put together. The whole thing's just so beautifully engineered. The brakes, by the way, I'm not going to go mad on them because it's got brand new discs and pads on the front of the car, and so obviously the brake pedals are very, very good indeed. But they generally need bedding in for a couple hundred miles just to make sure that they're bedded in correctly, but also that you're not going to you get a slightly softer brake pedal initially when you first have them fitted. So finally coming inside the car, first things first, beautifully built. I mean, no squeaks, no rattles. It's just so solid in here. It's also a lovely dashboard because it's one of the few you get in on this vintage car. This vintage car, which I love, because it's you're not distracted by too much. Modern cars are way too much going on. Ergonomically, it's sound. It's really nicely displayed and detailed. Sat nav, as you can see, working exactly as it should there. Likewise, rear parking camera. But again, nice detailing. All the buttons have that lovely switchgear quality that you get in high-end Japanese cars. Damping, every switch has a kind of same damped feel to it. Which brings me on to the only fault with the car, which is why it is substantially cheaper than it should be, and we've accounted for it in the price of the car, so we're not looking to sell it for anything less than we are. Is basically the air conditioning doesn't blow out cold air, which, if you're lucky, but we doubt it, we've not looked into it, but we know these cars pretty well, would be top up your gas, but it appears it's got gas in there, so which leans towards almost certainly kind of compressor, I'm guessing, which there's no way in the world you'd buy a new one from Lexus because it'd be too expensive. You'd either go to sort of a remanufactured one or second hand. That's the other option, if you really are bothered by it, and honestly, because lots of people aren't. There's plenty of people who, for most of the year you don't need it, but for others it's important. But and if it is, you either don't buy this car or you look to get it done. And I'm not saying it is the compressor, by the way. I said I'm just guessing, so that isn't a statement of fact. It's just past experience would suggest that would be the case. But that's it. Everything else works absolutely perfectly. Heated seats. You've got this stunning dash design in front with the dash binnacle, with the clocks. Just the detailing is beautifully done by Lexus. They do a fantastic job on that. I probably prefer this in some ways to the later RS300, which I'm driving currently, which I still love, by the way. It's got some sort of rather fancy stuff, but I love this kind of analog look to the dials, and then this beautiful leather-bound steering wheel, which, like the rest of it, it's just unmarked condition in here. It's just lovely condition. The car drives perfectly. Cannot fault it in any way, shape or form. The only thing I've picked up on, and as I've made note of, is the air conditioning, and that is it.